So, you may have seen the headline recently that Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada launched a fast track initiative to grant permanent residency to 33,000 foreign workers. And you might be thinking, this is my turn. The door is opening again. But before you hand thousands of dollars to an immigration consultant, you need to know that Ottawa didn't design this program to pull people out of Jamaica or anywhere else for that matter. They designed it to solve a domestic crisis inside Canada. This 33,000 PR quota is strictly an inland transition measure for foreign workers who are already sitting in provinces like Ontario, Alberta, Nova Scotia, or Manitoba, paying Canadian income taxes, working in local factories, farms, and hospitals, and holding active work permits. So, if you're applying directly from the island or anywhere abroad without Canadian work experience, this announcement wasn't an invitation to you. It was a signpost confirming that Canada has officially shifted to an inland priority system. Let me help you understand this and why it's happening. Let's look at the math. For the last 3 years, Canada let in a record wave of temporary residents. What this did was to trigger a massive housing shortage, strained healthcare, and created a political firestorm in Ottawa. So then, the Canadian government made a binding pledge to cut the temporary population down under 5% and to drop those numbers without crushing local businesses. And so they looked at two options: kick people out when their permits expire, or take the workers who are already inside, paying taxes and living in smaller communities, and turn them into permanent residents so they no longer count as temporary. That is where this 33,000 PR initiative actually came from. Ottawa didn't create 33,000 new spots for people waiting overseas to come to Canada, but rather took workers who have spent 2 or more years in smaller Canadian towns under the Seasonal Agricultural Workers Program, agri-food pilots, or the caregiver streams. And what they decided to do was to clear these backlogged PR applications. And so the door to apply directly for permanent Canadian residency from outside Canada without Canadian work experience or an approved trade license is effectively locked from the inside. When you look at the traditional routes that people used to take to come to Canada, they're all hitting massive walls. Historically, a Canadian employer would file what is called an LMIA to hire a foreign worker for a hospitality or warehouse job and bring them over. But today, Canada has blocked low-wage foreign worker processing in any city with 6% unemployment or higher, forcing employers to advertise locally for months before looking abroad and making an entry-level work permit directly from Jamaica virtually impossible. Not just Jamaica, but the wider world. You see, for a decade, the international student strategy was to take out a loan and undergo a 2-year college diploma in Ontario, for instance, get a post-graduation work permit, and transition to PR. But Ottawa slashed student permits and stripped open work permits from generic college programs, meaning if you don't study a targeted field like healthcare, skilled construction trades, or agricultural tech, your diploma will no longer guarantee you a work permit after graduation. when you look at it, even Federal Express entry draws that used to invite candidates straight from overseas based on language scores and age and so on are now heavily focused on inland category draws that prioritize people already in Canada with local work experience. Now, Canada doesn't seem to be saying no foreign workers are allowed, but rather we will only take you if you are already inside the borders doing the work, or if you hold a specialized trade, or that their workforce cannot replace. So where does this leave you? Is moving to Canada impossible? Doesn't seem so. But the days of being an unskilled dreamer, those days are over. And you have to play by the updated rules. So if you're currently participating in the Seasonal Agricultural Workers Program, or working in a caregiving capacity or hospitality in Canada, do not let your legal status lapse. This 33,000 PR fast track was built for you. So stop viewing your trip as just a seasonal paycheck and work with licensed representatives to apply through provincial nominee programs or agri-food pilots, which then turn temporary work into permanent residency, if that's what you're interested in. So if you're in Jamaica or anywhere else in the world for that matter right now, trying to figure out what skill to learn, I would say stop doing general business management certificates and learn a specialized trade like welding, carpentry, electrical work, plumbing, or heavy equipment mechanics. Because this is where Canada has an absolute deficit. And so they are targeting PR invitees in these categories. So make sure to get certified under recognized vocational standards first. Furthermore, look away from saturated, expensive major cities like Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal. Look towards smaller rural communities in Atlantic Canada and Western provinces, where the 33,000 PR program specifically targets smaller municipalities, making the barrier to entry lower and regional streams eager to sponsor your PR. Because the fact of the matter is that Canada is going through one of the most aggressive policy realignments in modern history. And the days when you could pack a bag, land in Ontario on a general permit, and hold a PR card in 2 years, those days seem to be over. The 33,000 PR cards being granted right now aren't a sign that Canada is opening its arms to the world, but it is a signal that it is locking down its system to reward the people who are already on the ground, keeping rural economies alive. So, I beg you, do not fall for agents promising quick, guaranteed visitor to work permit conversions for a route Ottawa explicitly closed. Instead, assess your skills, focus on your targeted healthcare or trade fields, and maximize your time if you are already inside Canada on a work contract. The door isn't locked, but the combination code has changed. So make sure you're using the right key before you waste your hard-earned savings. I beg you. If you find this video helpful, drop a comment below letting me know if you are watching wherever you are and you're planning a move to Canada on a temporary visa trying to hit that 33,000 PR threshold. And if you find this video helpful, like the video and subscribe for more unfiltered commentary. And share this with someone who needs the truth before they go spending their hard-earned savings. And see you next time for more unfiltered commentary.
Jamaica, here we call. One people, one nation. Standing tall. Under God. Strong and free. Jamaica, the land we love.